Hey everybody, it's Mr. McPhee and I'm here with a really quick MLA Works Cited video just to give you some tips on that. I had asked for the Works Cited to come in previously with the research. A lot of you got that to me. If you've done the research or if you've seen the research video that Encyclopedia Britannica has a nice citation generator built in, and a lot of your citations can be generated that way. But for those of you who maybe don't have that or who haven't seen that video, I'll walk you through a little bit now for how to do a works cited. First thing you need to realize is that most grade 7-8 teachers don't focus on MLA or APA or anything like that. MLA stands for Modern Languages Association, which is used in the humanities, mainly English class. And APA is American Psychological Association. They use that more for history and social sciences. Maybe religion class will have that as well. But we use MLA in this course. And if you don't have any information or any experience with it, don't worry, because most people coming into high school don't have any information about it. A lot of teachers don't care too much about it. Personally, I care and I don't care. I don't want people to get too hung up over it. And yet I realize that a lot of people take this very seriously. So I want you to know all the ins and outs of MLA. So if in the future, whether it's grade 12 or somewhere in university, you have a professor who's very particular of MLA formatting, I want you to be able to do it exactly how they want. So let's see, we'll go to class tools, content. Let's see, content, thank you. I put a little thing in the independent study unit, just an MLA quick guide, and I opened it up here. Where is it? Whoops, there we go. If you want to know how to do a title page, not too critical if we're submitting everything online, but good information. Want to have our school, just a couple lines down. Some people I'm sure measure out the space here, and we don't really need to do that. Just put the title of the school roughly a third of the way down. Put the title of your essay. If there's a subtitle, you can put that. If you don't have a subtitle, don't worry about it. And then around the bottom third, you'll put your name, the course name that should be on your timetable. Grade 9 would be English 1D1. Grade 11 would be English 3U. Then my name and the paper due date at the bottom. And have it roughly like this. If it's a little bit different, in this case, the title is a little bit bigger and bolded. Just try to follow that as best you can. Don't worry if 13-point font instead of 14. Just try to roughly follow that. And if you want more information, I have links to websites where we get all this from. Okay, so the actual essay. Do your best to... the only thing here that is on every single page will be this, the name and the page number. If you want to do that, if I go, we'll start here, home. And I'm working in offline Word, but Word Online has this as well. Just insert some page numbers. We'll go top of the page. And I can just put my name and the page number is already in there, and there we go. And just like that. Now, if I have a title page and I don't want this at the top, what I can do is just make my title page separate, and then I just start my everything later on. Let's see. So the very first page of an essay, what we want is pretty much the information on the title page on here. So maybe you didn't do a title page or the title page got lost, whatever. We like to have multiple information just so we know. So your name, professor's name, course code, and the date. Have your title right here nice and centered, and you'll notice everything is double spaced. Double spacing is really easy. I can press Control A, highlight everything, and then pretty much I just go to paragraph. Now I could right click. Oh, right, because it's Word offline. Use the paragraph tab, and then my spacing, I'll set that to double, and then everything will be double space. Now I'll show you later on how to get that quickly in Word Online, but pretty much if you just, let me see if I can find it here, grab some text, right click, and yeah, there we go. We have the paragraph function here, and that's the same thing. Just change that to double, and it'll be double spaced. All right, just moving on, we have our works cited page. At the end of your essay, you want to separate and make a new page, and you can do this by pressing basically Control Enter. Let me just get do right here, press Control Enter, and that automatically pushes me down to a new page. So just bear that in mind. We do like the Works Cited on a separate page. We don't like it just at the very end. Why they do that? Sometimes people, if they actually want to look up your stuff, maybe they'll actually rip that page off and go to the library, and who knows what people do. But this is the format for the Works Cited. It's double spaced just like everything else in the essay. Works Cited is in the top and the middle, and then underneath that we start putting our entries in, and the entries should be in alphabetical order. So I actually have a few examples down here. Yeah, these are not cleaned up yet. Let me show you something else. So if we go back to our class home, yeah, we've done this. Scroll down to our latest post, and I've given you an update on this, and I actually have a link to this nice little website here. It's Purdue Liberal Arts. That's not better or worse than any other one, but they have a nice little Works Cited page on there. You'd be surprised the amount of Works Cited pages I get. In some cases, I've had people reference Google. They literally put in www.google.com, which is funny because we're in Canada, so it should have autocorrected that to .ca, but whatever. They had that as their reference, which is ironic because if you actually go to Google and type in something like MLA Works Cited, it'll take you to websites like this. Citation Machine is okay. It's not. If you go to that, you can basically put in a URL of a website in there, and it will scan the website, and it will try its very best to actually spit out a MLA Works Cited at you. But let's just check out this one. MLA Works Cited. Don't get information overload if you look at this, because there's a lot of information. But the biggest thing that will affect us will be electronic sources over here. If you're on mobile, you may have to adjust your device a little bit, or all this information here may be in one of those little tabs at the top of your screen. But MLA Works Cited electronic sources. Here we go. Let's see. Best practices. Online information can change or disappear. It's always a good idea to keep a copy, download a backup. Look at that. From the other video, I was saying, you should download a copy for research, and this nice fancy educational website is agreeing with me. Look at that. Let's see. And because information changes a lot, we want to use like a most recent accessed to say when you accessed it last, because it could have changed since then. Let's see. There's a few other things. Let's get down to the nitty gritty. Here we go. This is a standard format that you want to use. And what we do here is we're just going to go through the information bit by bit, and we're going to check to see if this information exists. If it does, then you put it in. If it doesn't, skip it. And a lot of people get really hung up. Excuse me. A lot of people get really hung up over the formatting of this. They're going crazy. Sir, I can't find an author. There's no author here. And okay, maybe there's no author. No problem. Leave that part blank. So as you're going through your source, use this as your guide. If there's an author, put them in. Last name, comma, first name. After that, the title of the article, put the title in quotation marks. There you go. Because the title could be a person's name for all we know, like Napoleon. And we want to know that it's an article about Napoleon. It's not written by Napoleon. After that, you want to put something called the container. And basically, it's either a website, or it could be an article inside of a big giant encyclopedia. It's the thing that it's inside. If you want an example from grade 9, On the Sidewalk Bleeding would be the title of the story. The container of it is Crossroads. So I would put, for this part, I would put Crossroads in italicized. That's the larger book that contains this smaller little bit. If you have these three things, then that's most of the stuff right there. Most of this you're not going to get. Most of you doing this assignment, you're using online sources, so this doesn't really apply to you. The publisher, in some cases, is the same as the website itself. So if I'm using something from Britannica, the publisher is actually Encyclopedia Britannica, and Britannica will give you that as well. The publication date is important. Try to put that in there if you can find it. If you can't find it, not a big deal. Again, look for this information as best you can. If you can find it, put it in. If you can't find it, skip it. So if it's a book, I would put, maybe it's volume 12, page 95. Or if it's not a book, it might just be a website. And this is where I would put my URL. Some of you are just giving me URLs, which is a start, but we want to get into the habit of try to put in this information if it's there. So then you put in your URL. What else do we have? Not too much here. Date of access is the big one. Just when you last accessed it. If the web page has a publication date on it, you can put that in there as well. So the publication date. But that's really it. And we have a few examples down here. There we go. So there's this website, a few things there. Last accessed here. Wonderful. So I have my author. And in this case, there was no container, so the whole thing was just this. And then the publisher, the date it was published, the location, and then last accessed. I have a few examples down here. These are just, I took this from this Purdue website as well. So a lot of times when you put these in here, they'll be kind of like this. Notice that they are already in alphabetical order. If they're not in alphabetical order, you want to do some quick cutting and pasting just to have them in alphabetical order. That's what the people want. So we've got just starting from whether it's a title or whether it's a last name, we just go by that. So D, then G, then H. You'll notice here, this word really isn't important. We're basing it on this one, I. So I comes after H and before M. Don't worry, if there's a word, the, and, stuff like that, we don't really count that in terms of alphabetical order for titles. Let's do a few things. I'm going to highlight everything. I'm going to right click in this case and select paragraph. I do want my hanging indent, so I'll do that. And I want my spacing to be double. And that, I have an extra space in between here. I'll just get rid of that. And there we are. So going through this, I have an author, last name, first name. Then I have the title of the article. I have the container. In this case, it's the New York Times. I have when it was published. So the 22nd of May, 2007. The location. I have the URL right here. And then when I accessed it. Simple as that. Now, if you are using an online resource, maybe maybe that's all you have, right? Maybe there's no author. A lot of them don't. A lot of online encyclopedias don't have that. Let's go down here. We have author, last name, first name, title of the article. This one's a bit longer. In this case, whoops, I think I accidentally, there we go. The container is actually this big journal, and it's actually published in physical. So this is just the volume and the number. So if I went to a library and said, I need to look at this international journal, the librarian would say, well, which one? Oh, volume 14, number 1, 2007. Yeah, no problem. And it's on these pages as well. In this case, we have a couple of authors. Just put the first author in, and we can put the second author after. And then we have the title of the article, the container, when it was published, where I can find it, and when I accessed it. And again, I know I sound like a broken record. If you can't find all of this information, you're going to make a couple of mistakes. It's not a huge deal. I want you to be practicing with MLA formatting. Use it as best you can. Find the information as best you can. Just about every source you're going to use is either an online encyclopedia or some other website. And I know that's why some people are struggling, because there are some websites where they don't really have any citation information on them. Okay, we're back. So let's say I'm back to my little Napoleon thing, and I have this great, hang on, I don't need that. I have this great website I've used some information from, and I'm trying to figure out how to cite it. The best thing to do is scroll down to the bottom of the article. not to the goofy ad, but a lot of articles will have citation information at the bottom. And then you just, this is great because you have all this stuff. Something like editors, you don't necessarily have to do as author. If you want to put that in, you can. And then you just go through and, author, title, the container, publisher, just put all that stuff in. If it's not here, it's not here. Another thing you might want to do is, we'll go back to the main website, and sometimes there is some information here. In this case, not too much, unfortunately, but sometimes if you're looking for that information, who is publishing this website, what is going on, they'll have more information on the main website, and there might be like a contact page or citation information there. These are all ways to try to find that information for your works cited entry. But again, if you can't find the information, as long as you've looked for it as best you can, hey, you've looked for it. So hopefully that helps. Biggest thing is, number one, take a breath. Realize that this is a learning process. If you're doing this as best you can, then that's really all we can do. Just author's name, title of the article, container, where you got it, and when you last accessed it. If you can get those little bits of information, you're way ahead of the game. Formatting, try to do the hanging indent, double spaced, alphabetical order. I don't need this in some fancy packaging. Just works cited is fine, and that's pretty much it. So if you have any other questions, I'll be around. Send me an email, and any issues with due dates and things like that, I'm flexible. These are flexible times, so just let me know. Take care, guys.